Welcome to Catholic News World.
Welcome to Catholic News World. Please subscribe to our channel. My name is Steph. Here are this week's breaking news headlines.
A Catholic priest in Poland was found dead in his rectory basement after a suspected robbery. The body of the parish priest of Our Lady of Fatima in Kłobuck, Silesia, Poland, was found in the basement. The priest had been tied up. A 52-year-old man who tried to escape was arrested on the spot. The police suspect robbery was the motive. The suspect is a 52-year-old Polish former policeman who had been dismissed from service in 2001 for disciplinary reasons. Following his arrest, the man confessed to the murder of the priest without explaining why he committed this brutal act. The autopsy of the priest's body showed that the cause of death was asphyxiation. The priest had announced during the last masses that donations of about 80,000 zlotys had been collected, which is the equivalent of almost 20,000 euros. At approximately 6 p.m. on Thursday, the police were notified that something was happening at the rectory. Officers quickly arrived on the scene. At this point, I can say that the police received a report of a disturbance. At the scene, they discovered the body of the 59-year-old priest, explained Michał Tomanek from the provincial police headquarters in Katowice. Father Grzegorz Dymek was the 59-year-old parish priest of the local parish. The police suspect that he was attacked when he was closing the gate of the fence. According to the police, the suspect is Polish, a resident of the Kłobuck district. In a letter, the Archbishop of Częstochowa, Wacław Depo, said to the faithful, "In the meantime, I ask everyone to pray for the deceased priest and for the parish community orphaned by Father Grzegorz. Let us also pray for the perpetrator. May God show him his mercy and grant him the grace of conversion," concluded the Archbishop, who will preside over the solemn funeral of Father Grzegorz Dymek on Friday, February 21st at 11 a.m. in the parish founded by the Polish priest. The body will then be buried in the local cemetery.
Please subscribe to our channel.
A beloved priest was killed on Valentine's Day, and thousands attend the funeral. A Catholic priest was brutally killed in the Archdiocese of Mandalay in the country of Myanmar. Father Donald Martin, age 44, a diocesan priest of the Archdiocese, is the first Burmese Catholic priest killed in the civil conflict that is devastating the country. His lifeless body, disfigured by stab wounds, was found on February 14th at 6 a.m. by parishioners in the grounds of the parish of Our Lady of Lourdes, where he was the parish priest. The church is located in the village of Kangi Ta, in the territory of the Shwebo district, which is part of the Sagaing region. According to Fide sources, the priest was violently stabbed several times, suggesting a targeted attack, with an ongoing conflict between opposition militias and the Burmese army. The news has caused shock and deep sadness in the local community. The faithful have mobilized to try to understand the cause and the identity of the perpetrators. The Sagaing region in northern Myanmar is one of those where fighting and clashes between the People's Defense Forces and the Burmese army are a daily occurrence. 2 women assistant teachers of children who were present at the events are now protected for security reasons, revealed details of the incident. Their testimony, which Fidesz has received, has already reached the Ministry of Justice of the National Unity Government in exile, on which the People's Defense Force depends, which controls the territory in the so-called liberated areas, meaning those taken from the control of the military junta by the opposition forces. The men who attacked Father Donald, the women reported, were in an evident abnormal mental state, either due to alcohol or drugs. They came from the neighboring village. It is not clear why they attacked the priest with such violence, whom the leader ordered to kneel. Father Donald watched them and replied with the gentleness and inner peace, saying, "I only kneel before God." And then he continued quietly, "What can I do for you? Is there a matter we can discuss?" One of the men responded to his words by striking him from behind with a dagger. However, with this weapon, he accidentally hit the leader of the armed group. The leader, who was already in a state of drunkenness and rage, pulled out a knife and angrily attacked the priest. Father Donald did not utter a word or complain. He endured the senseless violence without reacting, like an innocent man, like a lamb to the slaughter, as the witnesses report. The deceased, Father Donald Martin, was ordained a priest in 2018. In this period of civil war, he carried out his task as pastor of souls with zeal, fidelity, and obedience, administering the sacraments in the parish and trying to be close to the suffering community. Furthermore, like so many other priests, he dedicated himself to humanitarian assistance to displaced people scattered throughout the territory, bringing them spiritual consolation and material aid. More than 5,000 people, despite the dangers and general violence, gathered in the village of Peen U Luin to pay their last respects to Catholic priest Donald Martin Ye Nang Win. The mountain village of Peen U Luin is the birthplace of Father Donald and where his family lives. There, priests, religious, faithful gathered around the Archbishop of Mandalay, Marco Tin Win, in the Catholic Church of the Assumption of the Virgin Mary to celebrate the funeral mass and offer consolation to Father Donald's family, who attended the funeral mass. The moving participation of the people, according to Fides sources present at the celebration, set the scene for the mass, during which the Archbishop read the message of the Apostolic Nunciature in Yangon and the condolences of the Bishops' Conference of Myanmar, which expressed deep and sincere solidarity with the local population. Archbishop Marco Tin Win, who presided over the funeral, urged the faithful to wake up, because violence only brings death and destruction. It is always a defeat. And he made a heartfelt appeal to all armed groups and actors involved in the conflict to lay down their weapons and take a path of peace and reconciliation. He then entrusted Father Donald, his family, and the entire community present to the loving hands of the Virgin Mary. May Our Lady accompany him to paradise and protect all under her mantle, giving comfort and hope, said the Archbishop. Faced with civil war, violence, and displacement, schools are closed. There are no teachers and only informal classes given voluntarily by priests. Religious and catechists ensure a minimum level of continuity in the education of children and young people. The area is controlled by the People's Defense Force, which is fighting against the military junta. The leadership of these forces has been asked to investigate the armed groups that attacked and took the life of the priest. The militias, meanwhile, have arrested 10 men from the village of Kangi Ta, where Father Donald lost his life. The People's Defense Forces, according to Fides sources, are themselves interested in identifying and punishing the culprits and have transferred those arrested to a court set up by the People's Defense Force in the areas currently defined as liberated areas, that is, not under the control of the Burmese government.
Please subscribe to our channel.
Fire destroyed the home of 12 priests of the Legionaries in Cumming, Georgia, USA, and 4 priests escaped just before the place was engulfed. Regnum Christi released that the home of the Legionaries of Christ's community on Woodsong Road sustained a direct hit by a lightning strike during severe storms on the morning of February 16th at about 4:45 a.m. The house was quickly engulfed in flames and burned down completely. Most of the community's 12 priests and Mission Corps missionaries were away working apostolically in different locations and not home when the fire broke out. The 4 priests who were home escaped safely and were quickly aided by nearby neighbors. Father Scott Riley, Legionary Associate Pastor of St. Brendan the Navigator Parish, was one of the priests at home at the time of the fire. He shared that when another priest saw a glow in the ceiling after the lightning strike, they realized the house was on fire, called 911, and got everyone out. The Forsyth County Fire Department arrived on the scene quickly, but despite their dedicated efforts, the fire grew out of control, and the firefighters were forced to exit the house. Father Scott and the other 3 priests present were quickly aided by nearby neighbors, he explained with gratitude. Our neighbors are amazing. They came to our aid right away. We went over to the neighbors right in front of us, who gave us coffee and whatever we needed. They had breakfast for us and were all so kind. The Woodsong Road Legionary community and all the Legionaries of Christ are deeply grateful for the tremendous outpouring of concern, support, and prayers they have quickly begun to receive from people across the Atlanta area as they grapple with this situation.
Please subscribe to our channel.
Vatican News reported that at a press conference in Rome's Gemelli Hospital, members of Pope Francis' medical team say that he is not yet out of danger and will be in hospital at least another week. But they note that he is joking as usual and has even begun working again. The Vatican released that the Holy Father's clinical condition is showing slight improvement. He has no fever and his hemodynamic parameters remain stable. This morning, he received the Eucharist and then dedicated himself to work activities. The Pope was diagnosed with double pneumonia, and his pharmacological therapy was therefore adjusted. The Pope is not in danger of death, but he's also not fully out of danger, the medical team said. At Rome's Gemelli Hospital, Dr. Sergio Alfieri, the head of the team caring for the Pope, and Dr. Luigi Carbone, the vice director of the Vatican's healthcare service, spoke for about 40 minutes to journalists. The pair said that they believed the Pope would be hospitalized for at least the entirety of the next week. Dr. Alfieri emphasized that the Pope is not attached to a ventilator, although he is still struggling with his breathing and consequently keeping his physical movements limited. Nevertheless, the physician said the Pope is sitting upright in a chair, working and joking. Alfieri said that when one of the doctors greeted the Pope by saying, "Hello, Holy Father," he replied with, "Hello, Holy Son." Asked by a journalist what their greatest fear is, the doctors noted that there is a risk that germs in the Pope's respiratory tract might enter his bloodstream, causing sepsis. Dr. Alfieri did say, however, that he was confident that Pope Francis would leave the hospital at some point and return to Casa Santa Marta in the Vatican, with the proviso that when he does so, his chronic respiratory issues will remain.
Watch our programme every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to Catholic News World's channel. God bless.